Hello, kings and queens, and welcome to the video version of my journal. I'm Steffanie Rivers. Come on in for the conversation. Come on in. I am TriCasting on YouTube and Facebook Live and LinkedIn. So if this is your first time joining us, we want to welcome you to the conversation. And if you are returning, we want to welcome you back. I just premiered my show opener. So always trying to get better. But again, I want to thank you for being here. And if you want to, please do like, share, and subscribe. So when I post new videos, you will be the first one to know. A lot of you know that I am an Uber driver. It's one of my streams of income. And if you are an Uber driver yourself, or you have used a ride share app, you know how it works. It works based off of GPS proximity. The first, if you want a ride, you put in, you want a ride, the driver that's closest to you, they get the call. And so I do it because I know I'm there for the money. That's why I do it. I'm not trying to make friends. So I know I pick up whoever the app tells me wants a ride. And if you have used a ride share app, you know, if when you're ready to roll, then that's who you get when they accept your ride request. So the other day I picked up this older white couple. And again, whoever I pick up is fine with me. I try to make them as comfortable as possible, whoever my riders are, whether it is whether it's about the temperature. I always ask, if you want it to be hot or colder, let me know. If they seem like they're taller and they need more leg room, I'm willing to push the seats up so they can have more leg room. They can even charge their phones. If it's a younger guy, I think he likes ESPN. I've already got it pre-programmed on my radio. I'll play ESPN. If it's some partiers, then I normally just let the music play or whatever they request. And if I'm not quite sure what they're into, then I will just play NPR radio news. So this older white couple, I picked them up at the airport, and their home was about 25 miles away, and 25 minutes, 30-minute drive. And so because I wasn't quite sure what they were into, I played NPR radio. And this just happened to be about the news that was on, happened to be about the Derek Chauvin murder trial. And it was talking about all the doctors that had been on that day and that week, and how they essentially agreed, more so than not, that it wasn't a drug overdose that killed George Floyd. It wasn't pre-existing medical conditions that killed George Floyd. It was a knee, Derek Chauvin's knee, compressed on George Floyd's neck that kept him from breathing, and that was the cause of George Floyd's death. That was one of the stories. And then it went on to talk about how the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, has officially named racism as an effect on the mental health of African Americans and what that means. So they had people on talking to them about how they felt about the trial and racism and how they deal with it when they're trying to get a job, when they're trying to buy houses and redlining. It was basically all Black everything on NPR at this time. And again, I had these white people, older white couple in the car. And you know what? Because I do try to make people feel comfortable, as a way to just be hospitable, because that's how I grew up and that's just how I do. I actually thought about, why don't I change the radio station right now? And then, you know what? I said, no, I'm not going to do it, because these older white people are the type of white people, based off of just the conversation. They just came from a funeral in Kentucky, grew up in Kentucky, live in Texas now, and just the conversation, how his wife, oh, let me say this. He was sitting up front with me, passenger, in the passenger seat. His wife was in the back because they had four big ass pieces of luggage, and only two would fit in the trunk, and the other two had to be on the back seat where she was seated next to her. So I could just tell from the conversation from her that it was little to no conversation, that she probably felt as more uncomfortable with what she was hearing on the radio than he, but probably both of them, because he was grunting every now and then doing all this when it was being played. And so I just said to myself, you know what? They probably have never had to sit here and listen to information that they might not agree with. They have always probably had the option of turning off the radio or changing the channel or making excuses about racism in America, or maybe even coming up with their own reasons why things are happening to Black people in America. And so I said to myself, you know what? I'm not going to change the channel. I'm going to let them sit in this car, and I'm going to let them listen. So I'm not even going to say anything. I'm not going to try to talk over the radio. I'm not even going to try to excuse or ask them their opinion. I just want them to listen. I'm not even, so sometimes I think, and I know I have this experience and I have too. So I'm probably talking to myself or more people who feel like me. Sometimes we feel the need to make excuses in the moment as to why things might be happening or why they're focusing on all Black everything today. It was some little Asian hate information mixed up in this NPR news segment. But because we were in the car for such a long time, it did. And of course, the Derek Chauvin murder trial is going on. That was basically what NPR was focusing on in that moment. And so we sat there in silence because I refused to even try to take the attention away from what was being said. So just to allow somebody who probably has never had to just sit there and listen to an opposing view was powerful in that moment. And it just allowed me, and hopefully allowed them, to just listen to the information as it was presented so they could not hide from it. And that's what we did. We drove in silence for 25 minutes and listened to NPR, except for him grunting every now and then like he was trying to clear his throat. And I might have said something about, do I turn left right here or do I keep straight right here like I normally do when I'm driving somebody through the app? So other than that, they had to listen. And so again, I was determined in that moment that I was not trying to make them feel uncomfortable, but I was not going to excuse anything that they were hearing. So we finally got to their address where I dropped them off. His wife jumps out the car like she got to go to the bathroom, or maybe she was trying to get away from me. I'm not sure. She basically left her husband to collect those four big ass pieces of luggage. So I did get out, open the trunk, try to help him pull the stuff out of the trunk and get the stuff out off the back seat. She done gone and disappeared in the house or something, like she running. So anyway, and then I thought, you know what? They're probably going to give me a bad review because I didn't change the channel or didn't ask them anything about the channel, the station. And I just said, you know what? I don't even care. My first of all, my rating is good enough that one bad rating is not going to make a difference. And sometimes people just give you a bad rating just because they're mad about something else, and that's the only thing they can do is say, "Oh, she didn't drive right," or something. They make up something, and I don't even know if that's the case. All I'm saying is it crossed my mind, and I think sometimes too many of us, when we should be doing one thing, we think about, well, what if this happens, or what if this negative consequence happens? And so we end up we overthink it when in the moment we should do the right thing. So I think in that moment I did what I should have done, and that's be silent and let them sit in it and not have the white privilege for me to excuse away whatever it was that was making them feel uncomfortable. Because damn it, we've been feeling uncomfortable for 450 years, and you can do it for 25 minutes in a car ride up the street. Okay. So that's what I did. So then I get home later on and I read that North Carolina Chapel Hill has a new basketball coach because the other coach, forgot his name, you know what I'm talking about. He retired. Roy. I'm into basketball a little bit. But Roy, whatever his last name is. Anyway, he retired. And so I guess this dude, his name is Hubert Davis. He is the new black head basketball coach at UNC. So let me try to show you his picture. Let me see if I can find it right fast. I thought I had it all pulled up, and you probably know. Okay. Trying not to cut myself off. So if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. And then I'm going to try to pull up. I know I had his picture up here. Okay, I think I need to do that. All right. If I don't have it in 10 seconds, I am going to. Okay. Here it is. All righty. Finally. Okay. This is Hubert Davis, first black coach of UNC-Chapel Hill, black basketball coach. Now, if you're into sports, there's a lot of conversation about how hard it is or a challenge it is for black men who have the experience and have the education and just have been a part of the sports world to even get a head coaching position, whether it's in the NFL or college sports. And so Hubert Davis getting becoming the first black head basketball coach at UNC is a big deal. But what happened was the story was not just about that. It was about what he said in that moment. So I am going to try to play what he said in that moment. I'm already sharing my screen. Okay, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that and keep everything like I want it to be. So I'm just going to tell you. So in the middle of Hubert Davis is a news conference complimenting him on and congratulating him on his accomplishments as becoming the first black basketball head coach at UNC Chapel Hill. And he went on to say he's only the fourth coach ever in any sport, the fourth black coach. at any sport at UNC-Chapel Hill in Chapel Hill's history to become head coach. Then he goes on to say, but even more importantly than me being the first African American head coach in basketball, I'm more proud of my white wife and my biracial kids. And it's like, what? What are you talking about right now? And so it seemed to me that Hubert Davis, who is at least 50 years old, is uncomfortable with the spotlight being on him as a Black man. He felt like, oh, I must make my white wife feel comfortable in this moment. I must make my biracial children more comfortable in this moment. I must make the white people around me, my staff, whoever the other white people might be, feel more comfortable in who I am as a Black man, then I must make them feel more comfortable and take the spotlight off of me. And that is a sad commentary. In fact, I'm going to put the link in here so you can see the video for yourself. I think it's a sad commentary, and I think it's a part of the problem of racism that some Black people feel so inferior and so uncomfortable in being in the spotlight when there are white people around. It's like we find some reason to diminish our light. We find some reason to diminish our accomplishments to make them feel better. Like, why, after all, because he went through explaining, yes, I'm only the fourth Black coach at UNC, and he mentioned how this is a great accomplishment for himself personally and for Black coaches and Black men. And in the midst of the social unrest and all that Black people have to deal with right now, he felt the need to make white people feel comfortable. He felt the need to make his white wife feel comfortable and take the spotlight off of him. And that is sad to me, that he could not stand in his accomplishments without worrying about her, worrying about other white people. So I think, and I know that this is a part of the problem. This is why white people feel so privileged, that they feel like they don't have to pay attention to racism, or when they see things going on that they clearly know is egregious, or they see unfair practices going on, whether it's in the grocery store, whether you've been standing there and then the person behind the counter calls the white person in front of you when clearly you were standing there first with your brown self. And they are like, oh, I didn't see that. You saw me. Hell, I'm 5'11". I know you saw me. So, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. It's like, what? Why do people feel the need to be the background to white people's foreground when clearly you are just as confident and clearly just as competent as they are, especially in the moment? And so I just thought that it was not a coincidence that I had that experience in my vehicle, and I'm sure it won't be the last time, that I'm not going to, this is a lesson for me as well as I hope for someone else, that if you have the opportunity to be honest with, or to not make excuses for society and racism and unfair practices, don't make excuses for it. Don't cover it up. Don't overtalk the news that's on television. Or if they're talking about the Derek Chauvin trial, don't come up with some alternative narrative as to take people's attention away from it. they need to hear it. And it is what it is. They just need to hear it. And so if you want to tell me about an issue that you might have had, or how you feel about what I did, or if you're a ride share driver, and you feel like you've done that in the past, there was some type of news on, or some type of something being broadcast, and you felt, oh, I don't want them to feel uncomfortable, so I'm going to change the channel so they don't feel uncomfortable. Ask yourself, why is it that it's okay for Black and brown people, Black people in particular, to feel uncomfortable and to feel aggrieved at the expense of making a white person feel comfortable? I've stopped doing that a long time ago, and maybe it comes with age and maturity. Maybe when you're younger, you might feel like that's something that you have to do, that you owe or something. And a lot of it has to do with how we grew up. Some of us have been just indoctrinated with making the other people feel comfortable in the moment, and us taking our feelings and internalizing it, or making, putting it to the side and putting ourselves out. It's like being in a bad relationship whereby one person is sleeping around on the other person, but the person is being cheated on and played. That person never has the guts, never says anything. You never ask him or her, you got off at 5 o'clock, why it's 9 and you just walking in the door? You know what I'm saying? Or you never, you've seen a text, or somebody's called the house and asked for the other person, and then hung up when you inquired, or you didn't even inquire. You didn't even inquire, who is this woman calling you? Who is this man calling you at midnight? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we allow ourselves to be mistreated because we don't speak up. So don't be in a bad relationship as it pertains to racism in America. Be the person to say what needs to be said. And if somebody else is speaking, let them be heard about it. And you be quiet and don't make excuses for it. And really, that's all I got for you tonight. I was gonna add something, but I think I'm gonna make it a whole nother video, because it has its own merit. And so, to find out more about the things that I care about, typing that in, go to eurweb.com. Yes, to find out more about the things that I care about, go to my written journal. It's at eurweb.com. Thanks, and have a super day.